News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and now 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
A law enforcement tragedy in Cascade County. Good morning, everyone. This is Montana Morning. It is Friday, August the 15th, 2014. Right now we have a mostly clear sky. It's going to be a beautiful morning in western Montana. We had some rain last night. Things smelling fresh and good. Right now it's mostly clear, 57 degrees in Missoula. Our newscast this morning is sponsored by Dr. Troy Doxey and the friendly team at Chiropractic Works, where they're dedicated to chiropractic solutions. Call 728-0222 for your appointment. KRTV Television News in Great Falls is reporting that a Cascade County Sheriff's deputy has died in the line of duty after reportedly being struck by a vehicle involved in a high-speed chase east of Great Falls yesterday afternoon. The deputy's name has not yet been released. Cascade County Attorney's Office is working with several law enforcement agencies to investigate. It happened near mile marker 77 on U.S. Highway 89 near Belt, which is east of Great Falls. Authorities haven't yet released information about the suspect or what triggered the chase. The chase went west toward Great Falls and finally ended near 15th Street and Smelter Avenue in Great Falls, where the suspect was apprehended and taken to Benefice Hospital. The nature and extent of his injuries has not yet been released. What's the biggest factor hindering western Montana's timber industry? The lack of timber supply or a lack of public demand for wood products? Here's Director of Timber Industry Research at the Montana Bureau of Business and Economic Research, Todd Morgan. He says the supply is the problem.
The mills in Montana could be producing and selling more product in the current market if they had better availability of timber. Part of what limits timber availability in Montana is the high proportion of federal lands that we have in the state, particularly Forest Service lands. And those lands are definitely impacted by administrative appeals, litigation by environmental groups and others.
Morgan says the time spent fighting environmental lawsuits is hindering the Forest Service's overall mission.
That effort that they spend doing EISs and doing the environmental analysis, and then the effort that they spend again defending themselves when they get litigated, takes away from their ability to deliver the other parts of their mission, which is, clean water and timber and other multiple uses.
This week, Montana Wood Products Association has been lobbying Montana's congressional delegation, urging them to make it more difficult for lawsuits to halt timber sales on public lands. With that in mind, two environmental groups are suing to block expansion of the Spring Creek coal mine in Montana. Northern Plains Resource Council and the Western Organization of Resource Councils filed the lawsuit yesterday in federal court, naming Interior Secretary Sally Jewell and the U.S. Office of Surface Mining as defendants. The groups claim the Interior Department did not seek public input through an environmental review before approving that expansion. An analysis recently completed at the University of Montana highlights the economic contribution of non-resident travel spending to each of the 6 travel regions in Montana. Assistant Director of Economic Analysis, Kara Grau, with the Institute for Tourism and Recreation Research, says the analysis also highlights 18 of the state's 56 counties.
We did a study again this year. We looked at how much money is being spent by non-resident travelers in Montana, and specifically we looked at how that shakes out among the 6 travel regions in the state, as well as 18 of the 56 counties in Montana. We were able to do an individual study for those counties as well.
Grau says again this year the most visitors spending occurs around Yellowstone Park.
That park is the biggest draw in the state most of the time. We do collect this data year-round, and we've been doing so since July of 2009, but the regions right around Glacier National Park are always pretty close behind. Our certain travel regions have had quite a jump. Overall, the trend is definitely an upward one across the board.
Grau says Missoula County brought in $162 million of economic activity, supported by $235 million spending by non-resident travelers, people that Grau say are people from outside of Montana. A Wyoming man says curiosity spurred him to steal more than 550 pounds of explosives from a U.S. Forest Service bunker near Red Lodge last year. 33-year-old Bud James Nicias of Wheatland offered that explanation in federal court yesterday as he pleaded guilty to a single count of possession of stolen explosives. Appearing before District Judge Susan Waters, Nicias denied a prosecutor's assertion that he made at least one attempt to sell the explosives. Nicias admitted to stealing the explosives in April of 2013, taking them to his family's property in Wheatland and later convincing his brother to dispose of the material. Sentencing is set for December 4th. Well, the Better Business Bureau quotes a New York Times story stating that a group of Russian computer criminals has hacked over 1.2 billion computer username and password combinations. Director of Communications for the BBB, Chelsea McGuire, based out of Spokane, says this breach leads to the necessity of all computer users changing their passwords as soon as possible. She says that random is the best kind of password.
A great idea is to write down a sentence like, I like to go to the store. And you use the first letter of each of those words and then use a few numbers to replace a few of those words, like the number 2. And that way it looks random to somebody who's looking at it, but you could write down that sentence somewhere else and remember it.
McGuire says hackers don't particularly care who they attack because information is what they're looking for.
If a hacker gets into your email address, they're likely to see all of the accounts that you have otherwise. And then they can just use the password they got into your email inbox to then look at all of those other sites and hopefully get more personal and sensitive information that has financial value.
McGuire says to set your calendar to change passwords every 6 months to prevent your information from being compromised. A federal judge has sentenced a 31-year-old Browning man to more than 14 years in prison for the 2012 beating death of a childhood friend. Yesterday's sentence by District Judge Brian Morris comes after Victor Vielle pleaded guilty in April to second-degree homicide in the death of 33-year-old David Josh Redhead. Prosecutors say the men were drinking and wrestling at a residence October 6th of 2012 and went to an elementary school after being asked to leave the home. The Great Falls Tribune reports a surveillance camera captured Vielle brutally beating Redhead on the school grounds. An energy company says the Billings area is under consideration for a proposed $500 million oil refinery. Quantum Energy says the plant would convert crude from the Bakken oil field into diesel, propane, and butane, and also capture carbon dioxide for oil field use. The Billings Gazette reported yesterday company officials plan to make a presentation to the Yellowstone County Commissioners next week. As families enjoy the last few weeks of summer, officials at Missoula School District 1, like Superintendent Office Specialist Tracy Long, remind parents that the first day of school is rapidly approaching.
We are preparing for students to begin school on August 27th, and that will be grades K through 9, and then the 9 through 12th grade will begin on the 28th.
Long says the School District 1 website holds the answers to questions that parents have to get their kids ready for a new school year.
They need to check the website to make sure that they have the bus schedules. They also need to take care of the school supplies, which all that is available on the district's website at www.mcpsmt.org.
Kindergartners will have a shortened schedule during the first week of school. It's coming. News Talk time now, 6:10.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
A slow-moving upper-level low will keep showers in the forecast today and tonight. Temperatures will be slightly cooler with their highs in the upper 70s and low 80s. Overnight lows in the low